Cat Country 106.3 with Jim DeCesare and Charlie Daniels on the phone. Well, you were inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, Charlie, and that was a lot of stuff happened to you last year. You turned 80 in 2016, and you were also inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. It was a big year for you last year. What was that like, hitting that 80-mile mark, and at the same time, Country Music Hall of Fame? That must have felt good, huh?
Well, it was pretty amazing. I don't usually pay a lot of attention to birthdays because they come and go. You can't stop them, and I don't think too much about it. I just keep on keeping on. But this particular one, 80 is definitely a milestone. So I did pay a little attention to it. But what really got my attention was the Country Music Hall of Fame. It was something that I didn't know if it ever happened or not. If it did happen, if it happened while I was still alive. Praise the Lord, it did.
Well, last year, in addition to turning 80, in addition to being inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, the album Nighthawk was released, and that was, I think, August of last year. And that album, tell us a little bit about that album. Many of the songs in acoustic style, and it was kind of a different album for you in many ways.
It's a very different album. It's an album of it's an aesthetic album. It's kind of if you don't like cowboys, you ain't gonna like this album. I have been looking for songs for this album. I always intended to cut it. I always intended to cut a cowboy album. I just never had enough of the kind of songs that I wanted to bring it to fruition. But I wanted working cowboy songs. I didn't want movie songs. I didn't want movie cowboy type stuff. I wanted the sure enough working cowboy. And there are still a lot of working cowboys in the West.
There is a song that, and we're actually going to preview the song during the interview here, but it is called Ragged Old Flag. First done, Johnny Cash did this?
Johnny first did it. He also wrote it. He was, it's a very sensitive song basically it's about the country. It's not as much about the flags, it's about the country, with the flag kind of being a symbolism for the country. But he talks about the stripes of America, what we have been through as a country, the battles that we fought, and that sort of thing. It's very patriotic tune.
I walked through a county courthouse square. On a park bench, an old man was sitting there. I said, "Your courthouse is kind of run down." He said, "Nah, it'll do for our little town." I said, "Your old flagpole is leaned a little bit. That's a ragged old flag you got hanging on it." He said, "Have a seat." And I sat down. "Is this the first time you've been to our little town?" I said, "I think it is." And he said,
"Son, I don't like to brag, but we're kind of proud of that ragged old flag. They got powder burned the night Francis Scott Key said watching it. Write and say, can you see? It got a bad rip in New Orleans with Pakenham and Jackson tugging at its seams, and it almost fell at the Alamo beside the Texas flag. But she waved on, though."
It is a wonderful, again, song. You want to call it a song, but it is spoken word. It's from the heart, and you are speaking those words from your heart. And I know you do a lot for the veterans, and also you do a lot for this country, and you keep it going.
I'm concerned. I'm concerned about our country, and it's time that they quit being Democrats and Republicans and started being Americans.
FOP33.com is the website where folks can get their tickets. If they haven't already, they're going quick. So you're running out of time. Go get your tickets now. We're so happy that you're coming into Cat Country. And again, we just can't wait for it. So God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you.
Have some great concerts between now and the 16th. And we'll see you when you get here.
Good enough. Thank you, buddy.
And now they about quit waving it back here at home. In her own good land, she's been abused, she's been burned, dishonored, denied, refused. And the government for which she stands is scandalized throughout the land. And she's getting threadbare and she's wearing thin, but she's in mighty good shape for the shape she's in. Because we've been through the fire before, and I believe she can take a whole lot more. So we raise her up every morning. We take her down slow every night. We don't let her touch the ground, and we always fold her up right. On second thought, son, I do like to brag, 'cause I'm mighty proud of that ragged old flag.